Welcome to The Explainer. When you think about the food on your plate, what do you picture? Probably farms, maybe some grass and grain. But the truth is, there's a whole hidden science behind it. We're talking powerful and, yeah, sometimes risky protein supplements. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on what really goes into animal feed.
So, what is really fueling our food supply? It's definitely not as simple as a picture perfect farm. The reality is this high stakes balancing act of chemistry, biology, and nutrition. It's fascinating. So, let's dive in and start with the absolute cornerstone of it all.
All right, Section 1. Welcome to protein supplements. First things first, we gotta get the basics down. What is a protein supplement exactly? And why is it so incredibly important? Okay, so to put it simply, a protein supplement is basically a concentrated shot of protein that gets added to animal feed. You can think of it like a power-up in a video game. It's designed to boost the nutritional value and help animals grow up strong and healthy. And how do they get it? Well, these proteins are extracted from raw sources using either mechanical pressure or sometimes chemical solvents. And this brings us to a really fundamental choice in animal nutrition. It's like a fork in the road. Do you go with supplements from plants or from animals? Now, as we're about to see, both paths have some powerful benefits, but, and this is a big but, each one comes with its own set of hidden risks. So let's start with the undisputed champ of the plant-based world, soybean meal. I mean, this stuff is the most widely used protein supplement on the entire planet, so yeah, it's the perfect place for us to start digging in. At first glance, soybean meal, or SBM as the pros call it, looks like a total nutritional superstar. I mean, it is packed with protein and all those essential amino acids. But you know how it is, even superstars have their secrets. And it's really easy to see why SBM is so popular. Just look at the numbers. We're talking a crude protein content that can get over 42%. That is a serious nutritional powerhouse. You add in a good amount of fiber and fat, and voila, you've got a super well-rounded ingredient that just dominates the market. But here's the catch. For all those amazing benefits, raw soybean meal is also loaded with what scientists call deleterious substances. It's a mouthful, I know. Basically, they're anti-nutritional factors. These are nasty little compounds that can actually interfere with an animal's ability to absorb nutrients, and they can even cause some serious health problems. And yeah, this is what they're up against. I mean, this list looks pretty intimidating, doesn't it? You've got stuff like trypsin inhibitors, which literally block protein digestion. Then there's urease, which can lead to ammonia toxicity, and lectins, which can damage the intestines. It is a total minefield of potential problems that have to be carefully managed. Let's just zoom in on one of these for a second. Trypsin inhibitors. Okay, so trypsin is a super important enzyme for digesting protein. When it gets blocked, the animal just can't get the protein it needs. So what does the body do? It forces the pancreas to work overtime, which can actually cause it to swell up, a condition called pancreatic hypertrophy. See? These aren't just a bunch of abstract chemical names. They have real physical consequences. And believe it or not, the science gets even more precise. You've got different grades of soybean meal, all tailored for specific animals. But the main takeaway here is really clear. Even the most popular supplement in the world requires some very, very careful management. Okay, so soybean meal is, well, it's a complex beast. What about the other plant-based options out there? Let's take a quick tour of a couple of others, and I want you to look for a pattern here. Great potential, but it's always paired with some kind of signature risk. All right, first up, we have cottonseed meal, or CSM. And yeah, just like the name suggests, it's a byproduct of cotton production. It's another really important source of protein for livestock. But the catch with CSM is a big one. Its name is gossypol. This is a natural toxin that's just in the cotton plant. For chickens, it can do something really weird, cause their egg yolks to turn a strange greenish color. And for lots of other animals, it can lead to much more serious issues, like infertility.
Okay, next on our little tour is linseed meal. You might know it as flaxseed meal. Now, this one is super interesting because it's a fantastic source of omega-3 fatty acids, which, as you probably know, are amazing for animal health.
But yeah, you knew there was a but coming. It comes with a pretty terrifying catch. Linseed meal has a compound in it called linamarin, and under just the right conditions, this substance can break down and release cyanide. Yep, that cyanide. It's a really stark reminder of just how carefully these all-natural ingredients have to be handled and processed. Ooh, so if plant proteins are this complicated, what about the other side of the aisle? Let's make a hard pivot to the animal-based alternatives. The big question is, are they any simpler?
Animal protein supplements are, well, exactly what they sound like. They're highly concentrated protein sources that come from animal byproducts. You've probably heard of the most common ones like fish meal, meat and bone meal, and blood meal. For our purposes, we're going to focus on fish meal as our main example.
And here's exactly why it's so valued. Just look at that number, 60 to 70%. That's the crude protein content we're talking about in fish meal. That is some incredibly dense nutrition, which makes it a super efficient supplement for promoting growth, especially in things like fish farming and for really young animals.
And of course, following the pattern we've been seeing, fish meal has its own set of dangers. If you overheat it during processing, you can create this toxic compound called glycyrrosine, which really damages the digestive tract. Another huge risk is rancidity. Basically, the high oil content can oxidize. It goes bad, which doesn't just taste awful, it actually destroys essential vitamins. You know, overheating triggers another kind of chemical trap too. It's called the Maillard reaction. Now, this is the same reaction that perfectly browns your toast, which is great for toast, but in animal feed, it's a huge problem. What happens is the heat causes proteins and sugars to bind together, and they create this indigestible compound. So a feed can test high for protein, but if it's been overheated, that protein is basically locked away and totally useless to the animal. So we've seen these powerful nutrients paired with some pretty serious risks on both the plant and the animal side. And this brings us right to the core challenge for every animal scientist out there, what we can call the nutritionist's dilemma. See, this isn't about just avoiding the risky ingredients. That's impossible. It's all about managing them with incredible scientific precision. So nutritionists will add carbohydrates to offset toxins. They use specific enzymes to unlock minerals that are trapped. And they have to meticulously control processing temperatures to stop those reactions that make protein totally useless. It is a constant, complex, high-wire balancing act. So in the end, feeding our food supply is really a science of trade-offs. There's no single perfect ingredient out there. The real goal is to skillfully combine all these imperfect ones to create a perfect nutritional balance. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As our world keeps changing, what's going to be the next great balancing act in the science of how we all eat? Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer.